Well, good morning Internet. It's for now at least, a lovely sunny morning, although I suspect it's going to rain within the next hour or two according to the weather forecast anyway. And today I want to talk to you about my new helmet camera. So a while ago I decided that I was going to have to get a camera to wear on my helmet when I was riding, and my initial motivation wasn't actually YouTube or vlogging. It was simply a safeguard for insurance purposes should I get involved in an accident of any sort, because I've already had quite a few near misses in a reasonably short period of time, and very often when you're in a collision or an accident, there are no independent witnesses to corroborate what's happened, so it ends up being one person's word against another. Invariably it's 50-50 liability, just sort of knock for knock, and you end up with a claim which pushes your premium up, as opposed to a no-fault claim, which theoretically doesn't, or at least doesn't as much. So I wanted to get a helmet camera. Anyway, I decided fairly quickly that I wasn't going to go the GoPro route like most people. Partly because of the form factor. I just didn't want a large sort of square or rectangular device hanging off the side of my helmet, or the front for that matter, or definitely not definitely not in the top. So partly the form factor, partly the cost, and partly the fact that you just get nothing with it. You're going to end up buying all the accessories and mounts and housings and what have you. So I wanted to find a viable alternative to GoPro, and initially I thought I'd done so, because the first camera that I bought excuse me, and the camera on which the first couple of vlogs on this channel were taken was an Ion. I think it was an Ion Pro 3 or something of that nature. I got a fairly good deal for it on Amazon, and it had some good reviews. It was never purporting to be the best camera that there was out there, but it was certainly looking like it was pretty good value for money, especially the price that I got it for. I paid about £99. Then I had to buy an external microphone for it, so I got a Drift Ghost HD mic that was £17, and because I wanted to mount it on the side of my helmet, I got a mount pack that was another £20. So all in all, best part of £150. But I found that I just wasn't happy with it, partly because of the quality of the video it was shooting, and to be fair, that may have been a YouTube compression issue, because it didn't look too bad on my computer. But it had an inherent problem in that it was slightly loose in the mounts. Whichever mount I used, it just rattled about a bit. So on the bike it was shaking, and it was shaking enough that it kind of nullified any image stabilization that there was on the camera itself. Yeah, so I was finding I was having to stabilize it a couple of times, the footage in post-production, and I'm fairly sure that was, eating away at the quality, and I wasn't happy about it. So I opened a sort of return request with Amazon, and they certainly, this is lovely by the way, this is Lechamore Heath, they certainly processed my request without any problems, allowed me to change everything that I'd bought, and I got a refund, or at least the refund will hit my credit card in about 2 days. But there's a refund on the way. So I had to decide what to get, and in the end, I went a slightly different route in that I'd been looking at some Sena products, or I guess if you're over the other side of the Atlantic that could be Sena, but over here we call it Sena. And the upgrade of the camera, which was their original camera, was called the 10C. The upgrade was the 10C Pro, and it came out at the end of last year. And I like the look of it, partly because, again, because of the form factor. It's very small, and it sits quite close to the helmet on the side with a really nice robust bracket that stays permanently clamped on the helmet, and the device just slides onto it and snaps into place. So I love the form factor and the mounting. The camera is pretty good. It'll go in 1080p. It will go up to about, well, in fact, it will go up to 60 frames per second, but it also shoots at 2.7K at 30 frames per second. So that's great. It comes with a solution in terms of speakers, in that I've now installed into my helmet a couple of really good speakers, actually, crystal clear quality. They sit underneath the cheek pads, and also a microphone. Well, that's quite normal. That's installed like any other external mic. But the cabling for the speakers and the mic meet at a little junction box which snaps straight onto the camera. Another thing I like about the camera is that it gives you live view. So if I point my head down, you can see what I can see on my phone now, which is really helpful when it comes to getting the angle and rotation of the camera absolutely spot on. Both can be adjusted, so the angle of the camera with regard to sort of pointing at the ground or pointing at the sky is infinitely adjustable in small increments anyway, but the lens also rotates 30 degrees either side of centre, and so depending on the curve of your helmet you can adjust it to get a horizon that's straight, or straight enough that it doesn't matter. So the camera itself is, you know, pretty good, I'd say, and the audio is good. But the other thing that makes it a really good option for me is the connectivity via the usual sort of Sena communications hub. So I'm connected at the moment via both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to my phone, and I can take calls, listen to music, etc., etc. And both those functions are controllable either with voice activation or use of the buttons and jog dial. So that's pretty good. I get lots of voice prompts as well. The other thing which is excellent, and I know it's not unique to Sena, but they do it pretty well. The other thing is that I can also hook up to another 4 devices, Sena communication devices, if I'm out on a ride. And in fact, at the end of this month, I've organised a ride out with about 21 mates from a forum that I frequent every now and again. And I think about half of them are going to end up being on Sena devices while they're out. So, I mean, I'll be recording some footage from the ride out. I'll certainly be testing it. Also, other really clever stuff. So, you can layer audio that you can then manipulate in post-production. So, I can record just my voice or the audio that goes into the mic, so my voice and ambient sound. I can record music, and I can also record intercom conversations. So for example, on the ride out, I will have that set to do just that, so that I can capture any banter that might be going on the day, or at least between us who have our devices connected, and make that part of the footage. So loads of options. I'll be completely honest with you, this is the first time I've ever used the camera, so this is effectively my test ride, and we'll have to see how it comes out. I guess if you're watching this video, it must have been at least acceptable, and if you're not watching it, you won't even know, will you? One downside, by the way, before I say goodbye, I do have a problem in terms of connecting this device up to my computer, as the computer won't see it or read it. That's either the camera software or what's on the card. When it's plugged into my USB sockets, which are all USB 3. I have got some communication underway with Sena, the help desk, about this. They initially told me that it will only connect over USB 2.0, and so that at least allowed me to update the firmware, because I have an old laptop with USB 2 ports. But I've since determined that that's actually almost certainly not correct. I think I was fobbed off with that answer. And so I've opened a ticket with the help desk, and I'm trying to resolve it at the moment. Certainly factory and fault resets haven't helped in any way, and so the problem is still very much a problem, compounded by the fact that I have to take the micro SD card out of the camera and put it into a card reader in order to see the files on, see the movie or image files that I've recorded. So that's a bit of to be honest, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Lovely sunshine, reasonably dry and open roads, what more can you ask? Yeah, so I will update you on that once the situation is resolved one way or another. There'll either be a fix from Sena, or I guess the camera will go back to them for exchange under warranty. As I say, that's it for today. I will say thank you for watching. I'm hoping this will be a slightly shorter video and perhaps a little more focused and more interesting than the preceding ones. And I will continue to try and improve with each video that I post. So for now, I will say goodbye.